Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly market outlook here with the FX Jedi slash Anzu Capital. We're going to be looking out for some opportunities in the market for the week. We look at some projections, we look at some reports, economic reports, and we also want to bear in mind that, like I mentioned earlier, that this is the last full trading week of the month. And the last trading week of the month / the first trading week of the month tends to be irrational. So you should not be trading without stop losses. But even if you were trading without stop loss, this time is the wrong time to be doing that. Okay. So now let's start off by looking at the economic reports from Forex Factoring. So for today being Monday, you could see that we have not a lot. We have the only one to really pay attention to here is the GBP, the Bank of England Governor Bailey would be speaking. So we'll see how there's no actual value that we can attach to this, but what we can do is, or what traders will be paying attention to actually is the tone or the pace of how it sounds in terms of whether they perceive it to be hawkish or dovish. So depends on how the markets perceive the message coming out from the Bank of England, you would see some reaction in that currency there as well. And then we had the German info business climate, which came out by 9 a.m. It came out better than expected, so good for the euro. Those of you who were on the Telegram channel, you see our euro GBP pound trade. We just went from entry to take profits in like a few minutes. So beautiful one to see there. And then on Tuesday we would have some high impact news from the euro, from the eurozone, and so you could see this here. The German flash manufacturing PMI. We also have the service flash PMI as well. So this would be paying attention to the values that actually come out, if they come out better than expected or worse than expected. And again, Wednesday will be huge for the NZD. So the official rates, the monetary policy statement, and then we'll have the press conference release afterwards. So personally, the previous, now this is I can say from my perspective what I expect and what could happen, but the markets, I can't tell for a certainty if the market has priced this in. So what I mean is the official rate is 1.5, so 1.5%, and analysts are projecting that it will be raised by 0.5. It will be raised from 1.5 to 2.0. So that's an increment of 0.5. Now, if this happens, it means their interest rate is getting better. So it's good for the currency, actually. It's good for the currency in terms of strength. Now, if it doesn't come out as 2.0, then you can expect the NZD to drop. That's a fact. If it doesn't come out as 2.0, if it comes out as 1.5, let's say they decide to keep it at 1.5, you could very likely expect the NZD to drop. Now, if it comes out at 2.0, it now depends on if the market has actually priced it in. So if it comes out as forecasted, it's now be a question of if the market has priced in this value, because analysts are more or less expecting it. So now it's all about seeing where this actually plays out. Now, so this will be key for currencies like AUDNZD, because AUDNZD is stretched. If it comes out better than expected and the market decides to react to it, we could see this tank itself down because we see a stronger NZD, but remember that will be relative. So that we want to keep an eye on. And remember, this would be at a time when you're supposed to be sleeping. So you don't want to have open positions against the NZD or for the NZD that you probably not be awake to pay attention to. So that's very, very, very important to keep in mind. It's going to be out by 3 a.m. Time. And then the press conference afterward will be by 4 a.m. So is it that I don't read the news, so I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I'm just going to, when it's out, when I wake up in the morning on Thursday or Wednesday, sorry, I will be looking to see, okay, what was it? And then I'll figure out how to trade it. And then on Thursday as well, we'll also be having, so on Thursday, we'll also be reports from CAD. We'll have the core retail sales and the retail sales and also on USD, we have in the PRM GDP QQ. So these are quite important details. Also the unemployment claim, which is preceding the the one for next week as well. So quite important. So for the dollar, it's going to start getting interested for the dollar from Thursday. From this area down, it's just all about the dollar. We'll also have the FOMC, not the main FOMC, but if FOMC speaker Bullard will be speaking, then we'll have the core CP and PCE as well. So all of this would have key impact. What you want to do is keep an eye on them. I don't trade the news, I always keep mentioning, but I pay attention to them. So for example, I wouldn't want to be opening new positions on the dollar, or I wouldn't want to be opening new positions against the NZD or for the NZD, you know, let's say on Tuesday night, or, you know, because I don't know the outcome of these reports, you know, and I don't want to have to be guessing. I want to, you know, figure out what to do. If I have open positions that in profit, I probably want to manage them, you know, adjust my stop loss to maybe break even or something like that, so that in case it doesn't go, it goes one way or the other. So basically, you're looking at the news to try and understand where the volatility lies, and then shield yourself so that you don't get on the wrong side of it, right? When it works in your favor, you're excited and you're nice, but when it doesn't, you want to make sure that when you're wrong, you're a little bit wrong, and when you're right, you're very, very right. Okay, so that's a brief on the fundamentals. Now we jump straight to the exciting part, which is where we start looking at some things for the week, the opportunities. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go through all of the opportunities that I think are, you know, brilliant for the week. That is actually reserved for my classes and for students in my Telegram. So I'll be posting and uploading content there in the Telegram group. Remember to join me in that group. All you need to do is just simply create an account if you don't already have one, and fund your account minimum $100, and you can join me on those classes. And if you're watching this on the YouTube, there's a link down there to create an account and fund it. And then you'd also be able to access my cutting edge trading classes as well. So let's jump straight into it. Now we'll start off as usual looking at the DXY. Now the DXY, like you or many of you would know, is the dollar index, and I always like to watch it, you know, look at where it is for the week, you know, before I start any analysis, because it measures the strength of the dollar against the major baskets, right? Now, I have removed, I think I deleted all of the iterations of my charts, but I don't know if some of you should be able to remember this. There was an ascending channel that we've been looking at. The market has been, you know, more or less aggressively bullish, going up into this region. And price, you know, I was starting to look for some tanking. And price, you know, we looked at this area. I explained the factors to the strength, why the strength of the dollar continued to gain, even though it was looking like we needed this retracement. And this is why I always mention that you guys always trade with confirmation. So it's just not about having an idea, it's about waiting for confirmation for those ideas. Now, last week price was all the way up here, somewhere like that, and I mentioned that we could see this drop, and if we see this drop, we'd see the dollar drop. So things like euro dollar will go up, pound dollar will go up, dollar yen would come down, dollar Swiss down, you know, and all of them like that. So we saw that. And that's the reason why you could, if you go to euro dollar, pound dollar, NZD, USD, you'd see that the dollar was weak relatively across board last week. And it went nicely for us. We had some positions on Euro USD. We also had some positions on AUD USD, if I'm not mistaken. But we had some positions based on the dollar weakness that it played across. So now looking at this, what can I see? Well, today's candle has not closed yet, but if today's candle closed below this demand zone here, then it means we are most likely going to continue to drop down. Remember, the candle has not closed. It could very well go back up and become a bullish pin bar, but I would want to be keeping an eye on this. It looks like we're beginning to see the dollar weaken. Let me even just quickly check if we are divergent. So you could see that we are oversold, which is good. And then, yeah, look at this, right? You could see that price is making higher highs, right? You could see that we're making higher highs in price. Let me draw it. This is a high, and this is the most recent high. I can see that the most recent high is higher than the previous high. However, you could see our oscillator here, momentum is making, this is the high that tallies up with this one. And this is this high that tallies up with, my line is not straight, but you get the idea, this one. And what you can see is that price is making a, somewhat lower high. So the market is divergent. We are also overbought, right? So from the perspective of overbought, oversold, divergent type trading, we actually looking at a much push downward. Now, usually I always like to look at these things with confirmation. So I'm going to just delete this trend line because they are no longer important to me. So I'm going to just take this ones away. And then I'm going to just draw something like this. Now, remember, I don't trade the, what do you call it? The DXY, right? I just use it to understand what could potentially happen in the dollar, right? Now, so if we have this trend line, then I think this was where the break occurred, and then we could see similar thing inversely in the EURUSD. So now I have the idea I am looking out for the week today. I just want to see how this ends up. And if we continue to go down, we could potentially be finding our way back down here. And if we break below this low, it will leave this place exposed. So the dollar doesn't look quite strong, and the technicals also support further weakness. Now, pay attention. This could change any flash depending on the fundamentals, but the truth is it will still respect technicals, right? So that's why I want to wait for this will be even more solid when we see daily close below here. Now, so let's jump over and look at EURUSD. So EURUSD, okay, so you could see the inverse correlation with the DXY and the EURUSD. And, I mentioned this a while ago. So this was the same type scenario. If you remember me talking about this live, so sometimes it might look like, oh, I'm only talking about this after it has happened. So if you remember me talking about this live, just let me know, raise up your hand. We were divergent in price here. And I mentioned this, we're looking for confirmation. This was the trend line we were watching. I also discussed, I think it was also in the cutting edge class or something. We were oversold, we were divergent, and we were breaking. I started actually buying from somewhere around here based on a smaller time frame, but I got involved more when we broke above this trend line. And now we are even breaking the outer trend line. So you could see the same type, pattern, right? And this is an exhaustion pattern. So the market is looking like, sellers are running out of gas, they're running out of steam, and most likely buyers are coming into feeling the pressures, right? And what's happening here is this doesn't necessarily mean that we are now into a bullish market and this is going to suddenly fly to the moon, even though I feel there is lots of upside potential, right? I've been talking about this for a long time. I really like price coming back up here. I really like price coming back up here. It looks like a very, very nice spot. And so right now we're still in the bearish market, right? Because you could see we are still clearly making lower lows and lower highs. But what I don't like to always do is start guessing where the tops or the bottoms would be, right? So, however, looking at this, strictly looking at this from the point of technicals, I like what price is starting to develop. We are divergent. We were able to, if you got in on the entry, let me know too as well. But we were able to get in on some entries. Currently those trades for me now are currently something of like what 260 pips. That was on one trade. They had like 3 trades on this, right? Based on this. Now, looking at this for the week, the past is the past. I also like the fact that we're breaking out of this trend line. Not just that we're breaking out of this trend line. Notice how we are now making a new structural high. You can see, it's very important that today's candle closes up. Not necessarily that important, but if price closes above this area, we have, definitely made a new high. So this is what I like to look for when I'm looking to trade a market in a specific direction. So you could see here how the market has been bearish, right? Even from way back, but just taking it from here, making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower low, and now we seem to have made a new high. And so what this most likely tells us is if we come down to make a new higher low, we could start making new structure up into the zone. Now, there's no guarantee we'll come back here or come back something like this, but what it means is even if we start coming back down, I like the fact that we are making new highs, and any retracement is just most likely, any pullback is just most likely retracement to continue higher. So right now, this is our protected low down here, and this is our new structural high. So, you know, I like this one bullish, right? I have been buying. I'm just going to be looking for opportunities to buy. It's just about buy for me until I find the structural negative, right? Now, for the week, is one thing to say. Let's see if we can spot exact trading opportunity. There was an opportunity to jump in, I think early this morning, but the class wasn't live. So yeah, let's see. Okay, no, it wasn't this one. It was, okay, yeah, I think it was this. If you look at this, so let's get a parallel channel, you would see a bullish flag pattern here, something like this, where you could see how, so strictly you're seeing it's bullish formation all through, right? So this was my first entry, still open, second entry, still open. I'll be looking for a third entry and still continue to ride this. Now, if you look at this, you'll notice how, you know, from this low down up to this high, price started coming down in a, you know, downwards type movement, momentum, and this itself formed something what looks like a bullish flag, right? And which is why I just drew this out. So the breakout of that occurred. Yeah, I saw this. I didn't treat this particularly, but I wanted to highlight it. But it turns out the markets started moving. I was looking at this yesterday or something. Markets started moving way before we were able to come into the class. Right now, the structure is still bullish. This is the recent low, and wherever price decides to make this high, you could be looking for buying opportunity if price were to come back down. So let me point out areas that I like. So if you look at this zone, for example, I quite like the opportunity. Who's annotating on my phone? I said on my phone, on my chat. Okay, so if you look at this, I quite like the idea of looking for buys, you know. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so those two highlighted areas, I quite like the look of it. Why is it telling me my internet connection is unstable? Okay, so if we start getting pullbacks into the zone, I want to see a structural move. So those are areas of interest that I'd like, at least looking for buying opportunities to continue to take this higher, right? Because right now the market is bullish, right? There's no if the market is just bullish, right? On the smaller time frame, on the semi-small time frame, we're looking at a very strong bullish market, right? Now it's all about playing the trade, right? It's all about figuring out suitable entries to then look for opportunity. So I like these two areas to look for buying opportunity. You could simply just, so now also remember, we've not actually figured out if this is actually the most recent high, at least on this 1 hour time frame. We could proceed to make another high, and then that would be the new high that would have to work with. But then what you can do is just pull out your fib, go from low to high, and then, you know, within the 61.8, 78.6, even the 5.0, you could be looking for buying opportunity. Remember, your absolute protected low should be down here. How you get in and get involved in the trade will depend on obviously your own style. Now, if and when price gets to those areas, and if and when I am, you know, if I'm free and I am with my chats, as if I'm not having other classes, and this happens and I spot it, I'll be calling it out on the Telegram channel so that you guys can start watching for opportunities to trade. Okay, so I'll be calling exactly what I'm looking for and how I am expecting to trade that. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that will be that for EURUSD. So we jump over to the other one I want to talk about. So AUDCAD was, you know, was a beautiful trade from last week. AUDCAD was, you know, just insane amount of, just got to our entry, gave us, it got to our target, our zone, gave us a very beautiful entry, and just took off from there. You know, it was awesome. Now this one, I'm just going to go up to the daily chart here and just explain the idea behind this. Now, what you notice is the reason we started looking for buying opportunity is I was looking at this. Actually, I was actually looking for some selling opportunity down here. My mistake without really doing my top-down analysis, and that ended up did not go in as planned. Didn't make a loss from it as well, but it didn't go as planned, just made a few pips. And then, you know, when I looked at the structure of this market, figured that, well, we're making lower lows and lower highs and lower lows and lower highs up until we got to this lower low. And what happened is, well, what you would expect is for price to push up into the zone and then make a new lower low. But what happened then was price continued to go higher, therefore breaking these highs and making new highs. So this structural shift then resulted to the fact that we're now no longer looking at least as far as price stays above this low here, you know, this low down here, we're looking at the market that is most likely going to come up here, right? So which is the reason I started looking for some buying opportunity. We got in on this trade and it's been a while. Now, surely you're not going to, depending on your style, you're going to want to manage your trades as price move, because there's no guarantee that price will get up here. There is a good probability that it will, but there's also a probability price could, you know, maybe get up here, find resistance, and then come back down. So what you want to do is manage your trade as price moves. But so far, this trade is up a good amount. Is up a good amount. Let's see. So from where we entered, and the beautiful thing about the way I like, okay, just 136 pips. But the beautiful thing about the way I like to trade, I think I have like 4 positions on this based on smaller time frame entries, is the fact that our drawdown is absolutely minimal. Like our risk on the trade is very small, and our potential loss is very, very small as well. I talked about this one on the client on the Telegram group as well. So lots to discuss there. But so far, I am only looking for buying opportunity in this market. Like as the market continues to make, you know, I am only looking for structural places to buy. I'm just going to try and take this thing above here and even beyond. So would, you know, hopefully come back in a few weeks time, a few months time, and then, you know, price has blown past all these areas. And so when I'm telling you guys that, okay, so we caught the trade at the very end and it was a risk to reward of like 1:60 or 1:70, it doesn't look like it's just only things discussed in the past. Okay, but for the week, I'm only still looking for buying opportunities. I'm not interested in selling this, irrespective of what displays. I'm just looking for buying opportunities. I have taken partial profits here. I will be, and so I have like 4 entries. I've taken partial profits there. I'll be looking to take another partial up here, just around there. And then, you know, I'll be looking to just trail. Okay. Sorry again about that. Don't know why it keeps kicking me out. Let's go in. Okay, so so like I mentioned, I'm still bullish on this one, only looking for buying opportunities. I like the way price delivered here. And so what I would want to see now, and what you could be watching for, is if we break above this high, so this high here, I would like to see price actually break above it. And then if we start getting any sort of retracements, who is disturbing us? If we start getting any sort of retracement into something like this, I could be looking for more buying opportunities. So I have a buy here. I had I think 2 more positions down here, and then I'll be looking for a 5th position also here as well. I remember all of these other positions, they have no risk whatsoever. So this is the absolute low price that I got involved, also got involved here as well. I think so, 2 here, and 1 here, and then 1 here. So basically, I'm still looking for buying opportunities. I would like to see this go above here, because then that would be interesting. I don't want to see this start falling down, because it could be scary and you could just take it out. So I'd like to see price take out this high, and then even if you start coming back into the zone, I'll still be confident in looking for buys to make new highs, and then look for the buys to make new highs. Now, it's not all the time the market will deliver like this. Sometimes it will just stick off, you know, and not come back and give you an entry, something like, so if you don't get in on the first entry, you just missed it. Something like Euro USD, no, not Euro USD, Euro pound. I gave that one out on the, I sent out that on the Telegram channel this morning, early this morning. So it was this, so this sort of liquidation I had in mind when I was talking to some people about Wyckoff. So you see how price came down, cleared the liquidity below, and then it's looking to go and clear the one above. So in this particular one, I think it was the 15-minute chart. So it was the 15-minute chart that we got in on the entry. You could see it was just a perfect trade, you know. So these are the type of this. Sometimes you see this happen where the market just takes off. Normally, you might be expecting a pullback like this to give you entries. But the market just decides not giving any pullback. It just goes straight from entry, straight to TP in less than 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken. It just took about 2 hours or 3 hours for all this to happen. And so when I talked about it, it was, okay, let's see. Let me pull this up. Where is you? Okay, so let me share. Yeah, so I think this was it. You could see it here. We had, yeah, so we had this outlook, and this was what time was this? This was 8:15. I was like, okay, looking for price to break above this area. That was to serve as confirmation. So when we got a break, I got in on that entry at the close of that candle that broke above here. You could see it, and then so when price started to move, it was here. We called that out, and well, in the next few, so from 8 to 10, about 2 hours, we went from entry to target hit. Now, I still like this one bullish. I still fancy this one going higher because I feel, you know, I can see it. There's just liquidity up here. There's just lots of liquidity resting up above here, and the markets could just break through. And here's the thing: the break above that break, when and if it does happen, would be quite, I expect it to be aggressive. I don't necessarily think we will come back down. We could, right? We could, but I don't know if we would. Anyway, I don't know anything. Nobody knows, right? But I don't think we would. You could see in this particular case, we had this same type of run. We had a push higher, and then we took several days to come back down, and then we're looking to push higher. Now, I don't expect the same type of thing before we see the push higher. What I do think here is there's a lot of liquidity up here. Everybody's looking at this, thinking this is resistant, 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 and people are getting involved in selling, especially as you can see, price is coming back down. So what is most likely going to happen, at least from my own perspective, is we're going to just maybe come down a bit and then just stick off, right? And just clear all the liquidity that rests here. But who knows? I might be totally wrong and the markets would come back, you know, could come back down or even break lower, right? There's no guarantee to anything. So remember, all of these for educational purposes, you want to make up your own mind. Don't come and tell me that the trades. Remember, risk management is the core of everything for you, but this is why, kind of looking at the market, this is what I expect. There's lots of liquidity resting above here that the market is most likely going to want to run. So there are two ways to want to play this. The first one could be, so we could surely be looking for that retracement. So I'm just going to move this one to the side. This one is done. Now remember, my trade from here, I still have, my target is still way higher, right? Now, but I have taken partial profits here. That's what it means. Now, we could see this start pulling back down, even though I don't quite expect it, mostly because of the way price has delivered coming here. It hasn't really left much pocket. There's a pocket down here, but there's no much price pocket. So we'll see how this one plays out, but my expectation is we wouldn't come down too deep, maybe the 23.3 or 23.6 fib level, and then we start pushing back up, right? So what you could be looking out for is this, right? Two things. The first one would be if we come back down into like the 618 or the 786, look for buys. obviously trade with confirmation, wait for confirmation, maybe counter trend line breaks, maybe structural shifts, to then look to buy this higher. Otherwise, if price doesn't want to come down or doesn't give us that deep pullbacks, I wouldn't really advise trading the 23.6 fib level, even though I expect that's probably what's going to hold. Because if you trade the fib 23.6 fib level, where do you keep your stop loss? And where do you place your target? So if we just pull up our fib and draw this like so, I'm trying it wrongly. If we pull up our fib and draw this like so, this would be already sitting at the 23.6. Now, if you were to start buying here, where do you keep your stop loss? Well, down here, that's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It's just the risk to reward ratio doesn't add up, right? So it's not. This is probable. Probably has a high chance of doing that, but that's few percentage that may mean it doesn't happen. Doesn't mean it's worth the risk. So I'll be either looking for a deeper retracement to get in on more entries, or I will be looking for price to actually break higher. So if we get this break above all the zone, right, these are the most likely targets, right? So if we break above this zone, say price, now proceeds to push higher and take out this zone, clearly it might stretch up a little bit further, and then we could see it come back down to something like this before pushing higher. So I'll be waiting for this breakout to occur and then look to buy the retracement. Okay, so that's how you could potentially be looking out for that one. And what's the time? Yeah, I think I have time for so if you have any particular instruments you want me to look at, just let me know. I will take that, right? So that will be, so we just looked at AUDCAD, we looked at EURUSD, we looked at EURGBP, three good potential trade for the week. I mentioned something about AUDNZD, relative to the New Zealand interest rate reports that is supposed to come out on Wednesday by 3 a.m. So that would have an implication on what I feel about this, because the market is bullish. Clearly, remember, if it comes out good, and if the interest rate comes out as expected and it's raised to 2.00 from 1.5, that will mean a stronger New Zealand, and a stronger New Zealand will mean that we would slightly see AUDNZD drop down, right? So a stronger New Zealand bodes well for this pair. So if we get that, now it depends on what I'm not certain for is if the market has priced it in. If we get that, what it means is, well, a higher interest rate is good for an economy because investors would, it's good, they want to put money there because they get more returns for their money, which is why that's the relationship between why an increase in interest rates is good for the currency, even though it means the lending fee will be more expensive. That means if you're in New Zealand, then it's going to be more expensive for you to take loans. So for the citizen, it means it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But for investors, in terms of the way they look at value, it's good for the currency. So it kind of looks like it's conflicting, but it's not actually. There are two different parties. It's just about the perspective from which you're looking. So I was looking at this, and I've been bullish on this for a long time, all the way from down here, and I was still looking for buying opportunities, but right now I just want to wait to see after what happens on Wednesday morning and see the outcome. If we get a stronger New Zealand, we could see this start coming back down to this trend line, right? Doesn't necessarily mean we'll break below, but if we start, that could mean we come back down to this trend line. And if we were to break below that, well, you could see that the bottom, there's lots of targets to try and go after. I don't expect it to come back down here, but well, who knows? But we'll see how that one plays out. We'll see how the report comes out, and then that's what I'll be paying attention to for this one. Let's see, same thing with NZD, USD. So NZD USD, similar type scenario here as well. Remember, if the New Zealand is strong or comes out, the report comes out and makes New Zealand stronger. And remember, we're looking at the dollar, and it appears that the dollar is weak. So if we have a very strong NZD, and we also have a very weak USD. That's the best possible match you could be looking out for. So depending on how that one plays out, we could see this go into a full-blown rally, right, in the coming few days or week, depending on how that one plays out, because already the dollar is weak. If we now have a very strong NZD, you could see that the market has been bearish considerable for a very long period of time. If you just pull up your fib like this and just go from this most recent high to this most recent low, you would see that, you know, all the fancy targets, you know, whether the 78.6 or the 61.8 is still what, about 300, 400 pips away, right? It doesn't necessarily mean we go into a bullish market, or, you know, from here to potential reversal areas like 400 pips away. And that, you know, that would be some sort of nice trade to look out for. Now, you know, I remember the market would make its mark if we get that, and that will offer us plenty of opportunities to start looking for opportunities to get involved buying. Okay, so that will be all for me. I can't give out more than this today. Tomorrow class by 11 a.m. in the Continental Trading Room, we'll be looking at all the currency pairs. There are some that are looking very, very interesting. I'll be explaining all of those ones once this development starts in the class tomorrow, and also be pointing them out also in the Telegram channel as well. Okay, so today also by 3 p.m., is it 3 p.m. or 2 p.m.? I think it's 3 p.m. I will be having the follow-up of Friday's EA building class by 3 p.m. So also make sure you join me also for that one as well. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the class. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do leave a like and comment if possible, and subscribe as well to the channel. And then you can obviously go back and rewatch this there once I upload it much later on today. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the class.